Some people cultivate for immortality, some cultivate for power, but there are those who cultivate for a single obsession, an obsession so deep that even death cannot sever it. In the endless cultivation world, countless souls are born and extinguished like dust. Yet some names are destined to be remembered. Zhou Yi was one such name, sealed for hundreds of years, his heart already dead. His will buried beneath layers of time and betrayal, yet his fate had not ended. Because on this day, a man named Wang Lin stepped into the abyss, not for power, not for reward, but to repay a debt written into his soul. And from that single step, heaven and earth would no longer remain silent. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. Zhou Yi and Wang Lin had never shared a profound bond. Their connection was fleeting, no more than a brief encounter in the celestial realm. Yet that short moment had carved itself deep into Wang Lin's soul, impossible to erase. A man so utterly infatuated with a woman that he would rather incinerate his own origin soul than allow her to slip from his grasp. Such infatuation moved no one, and yet the clarity in his eyes at the moment he burned his origin soul, clear, resolute, and utterly devoid of regret, would shake the heart of anyone who witnessed it. He gifted something as priceless as the ascendant crystal, not for power, not for glory, but merely to ask Wang Lin to guard a female corpse. It was an absurdly simple request, and yet before his death it was the only thing in the world that still mattered to him. Later, Zhou Yi became the sword spirit of the Rain Celestial Sword. But the residual soul born from his infatuation, his final attachment to life quietly dissipated, ceasing to exist. At that instant, Zhou Yi heard a sound. It was as though the entire world had shattered. His heart died. His sword energy lost all vitality. Using his body as a spirit vessel, he chased Ling Tianhu through the void, vowing to slay him at any cost. At that moment, Zhou Yi was not seeking survival, he was seeking death. For the only thing anchoring him to life was already gone. Wang Lin had witnessed the cruelty of the cultivation world throughout his life. Schemes hid behind nearly every smile, ulterior motives festered in nearly every heart. Only a handful of people were worthy of being remembered. Situ Nan, Dun Tian Wan, Chai Hu squared, Zhou Yi. Back then, Wang Lin had only been at the soul formation stage. Before Zhou Yi, he was nothing more than a humble junior. But today Wang Lin stood at the ascendant stage. He drew in a deep breath and stepped into the rift. He knew full well that what lay ahead was fraught with danger. But as a man with a conscience, there were things he had to do. If he did not act now, then even if he lived for tens of thousands of years, when he looked back upon his life, he would see nothing but emptiness and chaos. Back then, when he saved 13, he had faced the demon general alone. Today, to save Zhou Yi, even if Sword Saint Ling Tianhu's divine sense stood guard, Wang Lin would not retreat. The instant he stepped into the rift, Ling Tianhu's lingering divine sense surged forth, tyrannical and overwhelming. It condensed as it advanced, as though solidifying into substance itself. That divine sense was like a peerless sword sharp enough to pierce the heavens, thrusting straight toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's outermost defense, the soul flag, let out a thunderous roar. 100 million soul fragments surged forth, converging into a massive shield that slammed into the incoming sword. But Ling Tianhu's divine sense was simply too powerful. The shield, formed by 100 million souls, was pierced through in an instant, the sword continuing forward without slowing. At this moment, determination flickered in Wang Lin's eyes. He knew he should retreat, but if he did, he would never again have a chance to save Zhou Yi. In one's life, there are things that must be done. If they are not done, then even living for tens of thousands of years would be meaningless. His determination hardened into decisiveness. Wang Lin took another step. At that moment, the sword intent condensed from Ling Tianhu's divine sense closed in. Without uttering a single word, Wang Lin raised his right hand. Golden symbols instantly condensed around him. The sword intent struck his body, white lightning crackling among the insects embedded within the golden symbols encasing him. He did not hesitate. He stepped forward once more. More than half of the insects stiffened, losing all vitality, and fell from the golden symbols. Wang Lin flicked his sleeve and collected them into his bag of holding without pause. This step triggered a divine sense, several times more terrifying than before. Thunderous roars erupted within the rift, overlapping endlessly until they sounded like the wrath of the heavens themselves. Determined to annihilate all intruders, the soul fragments from the soul flag could not block it at all. They shattered once more. The divine sense slammed directly into the devil armor. In that instant, the devilish energy within the armor collapsed. Wang Lin felt an unimaginable force crash into his body. A clear thought surfaced in his mind. If he did not retreat now, he would die. But a feeling was merely a feeling. With his iron will, Wang Lin forcefully suppressed it. His gaze grew colder, sharper. The scattered devil he had been branding for over a century was released for the very first time. He had not yet fully solidified the imprint, nor refined it into a second origin soul. The moment he released it, a black devil soul with a single horn burst forth from Wang Lin's forehead. It laughed wildly. Its laughter was steeped in boundless devilish energy. Confusion flickered in its eyes as it attempted to devour Ling Tianhu's sword energy. The instant the devil's soul appeared, devilish energy Wang Lin had never witnessed before poured endlessly from the devil armor, flooding into the devil's soul and slowly rendering its body corporeal. It swallowed Ling Tianhu's divine sense. Then, a violent aura exploded from within it. The tyrannical domain rampaged wildly inside its body. The devil's soul let out a roar, and for a fleeting moment clarity appeared within its struggling expression. At that critical instant, Wang Lin's origin soul trembled. He sensed the devil's soul's instability. Without hesitation, he sent a strand of divine sense into the devil's soul, activating the imprint that had been etched over 100 years. Though incomplete, it was enough. The devil's soul was forcibly dragged back into Wang Lin's body. A muffled chanting sound echoed as though ancient spells were being recited. Even the devil armor surrounding Wang Lin dissolved into black mist, losing its solidity. He swiftly stored it away. Then, he took another step. This time he advanced a full 100 feet. But from the depths of the rift surged a third divine sense, far more terrifying than the previous two. It rumbled like heavenly thunder, faintly carrying Ling Tianhu's voice within it. The chanting sound echoed once more. The soul flag could no longer resist. The devil armor was gone. All that remained were the 100,000 life seals. As the third divine sense descended, the life seals rapidly expanded from 100,000 to 1 million, barely managing to block the divine sense through sheer explosive growth. But in the blink of an eye, the 1 million seals began to collapse. Veins bulged across Wang Lin's face as he let out a furious roar. He slapped his bag of holding. The god-slaying war chariot burst forth, transforming into the Thunder Beast. The beast roared, charging ahead of Wang Lin and colliding head-on with the divine sense. Thunder crackled violently around its body. Yet even so, the Thunder Beast was steadily forced backward by Ling Tianhu's divine sense. Seizing this fleeting moment, Wang Lin's life seals rapidly recovered back to 1 million. His gaze turned icy. Sometimes defense alone was not enough. If he wished to charge through, he had to attack. Wang Lin stepped forward. The finger of death formed in his hand as celestial spiritual energy surged violently within him. One after another, fingers of death shot toward Ling Tianhu's divine sense, which was being restrained by the Thunder Beast. Black rays streaked forth like arrows rippling through space as they struck. Wang Lin took yet another step. He pointed again. The demonic finger manifested. Celestial spiritual energy surged endlessly within his body. Thanks to the 4 drops of celestial liquid obtained long ago, even without celestial jades, his energy flowed like an inexhaustible tide, no less violent than slaughter energy itself. At this moment, that celestial energy transformed into pure devilish energy. Strengthened by the scattered devil, it reached an unprecedented level of purity. 1 shot. No. 10. Moments later, Wang Lin raised his right hand, summoning the underworld river. He continued advancing spell after spell, erupting forth, bombarding Ling Tianhao's divine sense. Still, it was not enough. Wang Lin's eyes grew colder. The 1,000,000 life seals, save for the single one hidden within his origin soul, all transformed into slaughter energy, fusing into a single terrifying strand that surged forward. As for Ling Tianhao's sword energy, Wang Lin was not foolish enough to use it. He feared it would betray him the moment it appeared. At this instant, the entire tide abyss trembled violently. The cliff walls seemed seized by an unseen force as earth and stone peeled away, floating into the air. All spells collided with Ling Tianhu's divine sense at once. At the same time, the Thunder Beast released a heaven-shaking roar, transforming into a bolt of lightning that charged forward alongside Wang Lin's attacks. Muffled explosions erupted from the entrance of the tide abyss in the water demon country. The ground quaked ceaselessly as though devastating sound waves were surging through it. Deep within the abyss, even Murong Zhuo felt the terrifying fluctuations overhead. The two women beside him looked up simultaneously, terror flooding their eyes. This is terrifying," Xu Fei whispered, drawing in a sharp breath. The resentment she once felt when Wang Lin destroyed her divine sense vanished completely. In her heart, she made a firm decision. She would never provoke someone like him again. The ripples continued spreading, crashing through the abyss walls until they reached the very bottom. The depths of the tide abyss were filled with corridors arranged in a square, with a black hole at the center that led to the unknown. A massive sword was embedded halfway into one of the corridor walls. When the sound waves reached it, the sword loosened slightly. The echoes spread endlessly through the corridors. At the exit of the fire demon country, where Greed and the Dalu sword sect disciples were trapped, Greed suddenly opened his eyes, which shone with sharp brilliance. Ling Tianhu's aura. Has he arrived early? Greed murmured. No, though this aura belongs to him, it is incomplete. And there is another presence unfamiliar, yet appearing at such a moment. Could it be because of the token? Greed casually swept his gaze over the Dalu sword sect disciples before closing his eyes once more. By the time the ripples reached this place, they were already extremely faint. Aside from Greed, no one noticed. Within the Dalu sword sect, Ling Tianhou, dressed in his Taoist robe, deep in cultivation, suddenly opened his eyes. The sword spirit seal. Ling Tianhu's eyes gleamed with profound depth. The place where I sealed that sword spirit was hidden beyond measure. How could it have been discovered? He pondered briefly, then let out a soft scoff. However, as long as that spirit itself seeks death, the seal will never be broken. With that thought, Ling Tianhu slowly closed his eyes once more. Within the tide abyss, where Zhou Yi was sealed, violent winds howled through the fissure. Wang Lin's robes were whipped backward, snapping wildly in the air as his hair danced chaotically. He was forced back several steps before finally steadying himself, his eyes turning cold. The previous clash had completely destroyed the third divine sense, left behind by Ling Tianhu, but the price was enormous. The Thunder Beast had shattered into fragments, all of which had been forcibly recalled into the god-slaying war chariot. A temporary opening had been torn into Ling Tianhu's divine sense. Yet even now, it was rapidly closing on the verge of disappearing altogether. Blood surged violently within Wang Lin's body. Many of his meridians were clogged, and his celestial spiritual energy no longer flowed smoothly. Yet he did not pause to regulate his condition. Instead, he stepped forward. Like a meteor, he shot straight through the narrowing gap in Ling Tianhu's divine sense. This time, Wang Lin moved at full speed. A deafening, thunderous boom erupted as space itself seemed to shudder. The gap was far wider than he had anticipated. He charged straight into its depths, and there, faint yet unmistakable, he sensed Zhou Yi's aura. Trespasser dit, Ling Tianhu's divine sense surged forth once more. This time it carried a tyrannical will that transformed directly into sound, crashing into Wang Lin's ears. The voice alone shook him violently, forcing him backward. Cracking sounds echoed throughout the fissure. The entire cliff face trembled as countless fine fractures spread across its surface. Wang Lin's origin soul trembled under the impact. He coughed up a mouthful of blood, his complexion instantly turning pale. "This Ling Tianhou," Wang Lin inhaled sharply. "He's far too powerful. If a mere divine sense left behind to seal Zhou Yi possessed such might, how terrifying would Ling Tianhou be if he descended in person?" A sharp glint flashed through Wang Lin's eyes. He slapped his bag of holding, and a crystal-clear brush appeared in his hand. Gripping the celestial brush, his hand moved swiftly before him. A golden symbol formed in mid-air. The instant it appeared, it illuminated the pitch-black depths of the fissure. Without hesitation, Wang Lin drew again. 1 stroke, 2 strokes, 3, 4, 7 strokes drawn in one continuous motion without the slightest pause. This was the first time Wang Lin had ever drawn more than a single stroke with the brush. Though he had previously drawn over 10 symbols when dealing with the insects, all of those had been the simplest one-stroke symbols. With each stroke now, Wang Lin clearly felt a portion of his origin soul merge into the symbol. 7 strokes, 7 fragments of his origin soul. 7 was his absolute limit. Back when he refined the brush among the soul-refining tribe, he had tested this boundary. The 8th stroke was impossible. His origin soul could not split into 9 parts. One portion resided within his body. One portion entered each of the 7 strokes. Unless he abandoned his physical body entirely and merged all of his origin soul into the symbol, the 8th stroke would forever remain beyond reach. The moment the 7th stroke was completed, all of Wang Lin's celestial spiritual energy erupted from his body like stampeding wild horses, surging wildly into the symbol. The 7 strokes fused together, forming a perfect circular seal. The symbol radiated overwhelming might as though it contained the universe itself. It was like the sun descending from the heavens, crashing into the fissure. Its golden radiance was not only dazzling, it pierced directly into the soul. A celestial symbol formed using celestial spiritual energy and the celestial brush. This was a complete celestial spell. Its light shot through the cliff walls of the tide abyss like a divine blade. If one looked from outside the abyss at this moment, they would clearly see golden light pouring forth from the fissure. It spread outward, illuminating the tide abyss entrance of the water demon country, an area that had not seen light for countless years. The 7-stroke symbol contained 7 fragments of Wang Lin's origin soul, allowing him to control it as though it were his own body. Without hesitation, he sent it drifting toward the depths of the fissure. Ling Tianhu's divine sense, pierced by the golden light, began to dissipate. But suddenly, it stopped. With a furious roar, Ling Tianhu's divine sense surged forward once more. This time it took form. A figure clad in Taoist robes appeared, his gaze tyrannical beyond measure. Step by step, he advanced before blurring and transforming into a ray of sword energy that charged straight at the symbol. When the symbol and sword energy collided, violent shockwaves exploded outward. The deafening rumble shattered countless cracks within the fissure. The shockwaves were so intense that even regions across the water demon country trembled, alarming countless cultivators throughout the demon spirit land. Wang Lin's face was deathly pale. He coughed out 6 mouthfuls of blood in succession. Each drop contained celestial spiritual energy, and when it struck the ground, it carved 6 deep marks into the stone. The symbol shattered. 6 of the 7 fragments of divine sense were destroyed. The final fragment returned to Wang Lin's body just before the symbol collapsed completely. As for the sword energy formed from Ling Tianhu's divine sense, it had dimmed, yet its sharpness remained undiminished. However, the shattered symbol was still a true celestial spell. Though it had collapsed, countless golden motes surrounded the sword energy, forming a golden cage. It could not trap it for long, but even a single moment was enough. Damage to the origin soul was a grievous injury for any cultivator. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot red. The heart of slaughter surged forth. At this point, there was no retreat. He leapt over the trapped sword energy, and charged straight into the depths of the fissure. One step, and he arrived. Before him hung a purple spirit body. It was Zhou Yi. Zhou Yi's eyes were closed, his expression filled with confusion. Aside from the space between his eyebrows, his entire body was engulfed in purple. The purple hue writhed as though alive. The purple on Zhou Yi's face resembled countless silk threads, squirming endlessly as they attempted to devour the golden light between his brows. Beneath Zhou Yi lay a formation 30 feet wide. Strands of purple mist rose continuously from the formation, flowing into Zhou Yi's body. At the four corners of the formation, 4 treasured swords were embedded deep into the ground. The light they emitted slowly fused with the surrounding earth. Atop 3 of the 4 swords floated fist-sized orbs of light. Each orb radiated the aura of an immensely powerful divine sense. Senior Zhou Yi. It had been many years since Wang Lin last saw him. Now Zhou Yi was enveloped by this demonic purple mist. If the golden light between his eyebrows were fully devoured, Zhou Yi would belong to Ling Tianhou forever, never to awaken again. This formation was personally created by Ling Tianhou. Its name, the Celestial Refining Demon Transformation Formation. The formation itself was formidable, but its true core lay in the 4 swords. Ling Tianhou had once refined 4 small worlds into 4 origin soul swords. The swords embedded here were projections of those origin soul swords. To further strengthen the formation, Ling Tianhou left behind 4 divine senses atop the swords, amplifying its power to terrifying levels. As for the purple mist, it was demonic aura drawn from the remnant ancient demon soul of the water demon country. Years ago, when Ling Tianhou secretly sealed Zhou Yi here, it was because he had dealings with that ancient demon. The two shared a mutually beneficial relationship. This fissure lay within a hidden vein, one buried deep underground and directly connected to the capital of the water, demon country. Through this vein, the ancient demon could continuously send demonic energy. The formation absorbed it, converting it into celestial refining seals that slowly invaded Zhou Yi's spirit. Ling Tianhou and the ancient demon had made a deal. Once Zhou Yi was sealed, the deal was fulfilled. Each ancient demon, remnant soul among the 9 countries, harbored its own ambitions. The ancient demon of the water demon country sought a spirit body capable of withstanding its demonic energy. The process was slow but exceptionally stable. Once the golden light between Zhou Yi's eyebrows was completely devoured, Zhou Yi would become the ancient demon's vessel. This outcome had not been planned from the beginning. After leaving the celestial realm, Ling Tianhou had been relentlessly pursued by Zhou Yi, forced into becoming the Rain Celestial Sword Spirit by the white-robed woman. Zhou Yi gained terrifying spells. Moreover, Ling Tianhou had already suffered injuries at the white-robed woman's hands during multiple clashes. He was in an utterly miserable state. In Ling Tianhou's eyes, this sword spirit was bent on death, recklessly burning the limited life sword energy of the Rain Celestial Sword. It had to be said, the Rain Celestial Sword was the greatest treasure of the Rain Celestial Realm. Though Ling Tianhou possessed one, he dared not reveal it before Zhou Yi. The moment it appeared, it would fall under Zhou Yi's control. Even so, Ling Tianhou was still Ling Tianhou. Though injured by the celestial print, its power and prestige were beyond imagination. He concluded that such a spell could not possibly be wielded by a mere celestial general. It was a supreme celestial art, something only the celestial emperor could command. A single finger had injured him. Combined with Zhou Yi's suicidal assault and the reckless use of life sword energy, Ling Tianhou had been forced into disgrace. Yet this humiliation was temporary. He lured Zhou Yi into the demon spirit land, sealed him here, and fulfilled his pact with the ancient demon. 2 birds, 1 stone. What he had never expected was that hundreds of years later, Wang Lin would arrive and overturn everything. Within the fissure, Wang Lin gazed at Zhou Yi sealed within the formation. A dense aura of death enveloped Zhou Yi's body. Back when Tinga disappeared, Wang Lin's heart had already died once. Wang Lin whispered softly, his voice trembling as it echoed through the fissure. Senior Zhou Yi. He could clearly sense it aside from the external forces acting upon him. The primary source of the deathly aura enveloping Zhou Yi came from Zhou Yi himself. He had wholeheartedly chosen death. After seeing the formation before him, Wang Lin understood something with absolute clarity. This formation could not be broken by him. If anyone could break it, it could only be Zhou Yi himself. Though Wang Lin's voice was faint, it reverberated endlessly within the fissure. Zhou Yi's eyelids trembled and he slowly opened his eyes. They were empty. Within that emptiness lay boundless sorrow. His expression remained dazed as though he were still wandering within a dream. At that very moment, Ling Tianhu's divine sense shattered the golden cage. It turned around and charged straight toward Wang Lin once more. A soft sigh echoed throughout the fissure. The sigh came from Zhou Yi. The instant it spread through the cavern, Ling Tianhu's divine sense that was rushing toward Wang Lin collapsed completely. The sword energy dissipated, then reformed into a sphere of light that floated motionlessly above the fourth sword. "You should leave." Zhou Yi still did not look at Wang Lin as he spoke. He slowly closed his eyes again. Wang Lin had suffered grievous damage to his origin soul just to reach this place. Now he did not even possess the strength to retreat. His origin soul had shrunk to the size of an infant, its once crystal-clear form now clouded and dim. He had exhausted every spell, every method, and everything he possessed to reach this point because Zhou Yi was his benefactor. And yet, after all of this, all he received were 3 simple words. "You should leave." A thick, self-mocking smile appeared on Wang Lin's face. That smile was not directed at anyone else, but at himself. "Your heart is already dead," Wang Lin said quietly. "And I truly should not have come." He shook his head and turned to leave. The moment he entered this place and lost 6 fragments of his origin soul, he had already repaid his debt to Zhou Yi. "My heart is dead," Zhou Yi murmured softly. The moment Tinga left, my heart truly died. The sorrow on his dazed face deepened. For several hundred years, sealed here by Ling Tianhu, Zhou Yi had existed in constant confusion. He knew of the ancient demon's invasion, yet he had no desire to resist it. Only the golden light, his love for Tinga, remained something he could not abandon. After letting out a long sigh, Zhou Yi raised his completely purple right hand and flicked his finger. A ray of golden light suddenly appeared. Within it surged terrifying sword energy. This was the same sword energy that had once driven Ling Tianhu into utter misery. The life sword energy of the Rain Celestial Sword. Zhou Yi had possessed 99 strands of this energy. When hunting Ling Tianhu, he had expended nearly all of them. Now, only 4 remained. The sword energy shot forward, piercing straight through the sphere of light above the 4th sword. Though Ling Tianhu's divine sense was formidable, it could not compare to the life sword energy of the Rain Celestial Sword. The sphere of light shattered. Ling Tianhu's divine sense was annihilated, breaking apart into countless specks of light. Guided by the sword energy, those specks flowed directly into Wang Lin's body. At that instant, they entered Wang Lin's origin soul. His severely damaged origin soul began to recover at an astonishing speed. In almost no time at all, not only did it completely recover, it even showed signs of expansion. The sensation gradually subsided, yet the remaining specks of light did not dissipate. Instead, they automatically sought out Ling Tianhu's sword energy within Wang Lin's origin soul and fused with it. That sword energy instantly grew nearly 30% stronger than before. Zhou Yi spoke slowly. "My life sword energy cannot be stored within you, so I cannot give it to you. You were injured because of me, so I helped you recover. You should go, and do not return." Wang Lin let out a soft sigh and began walking toward the exit. Then he slapped his bag of holding, and the pagoda containing Zhou Yi's divine sense appeared. Wang Lin looked at it for a long moment before tossing it behind him. "I have already fulfilled the promise from back then. From this moment on, I will no longer guard this pagoda." Zhou Yi suddenly opened his eyes and stared at the pagoda. The sorrow within his gaze was enough to blanket the heavens. Tinga! Wang Lin halted his steps, though he did not turn around. He spoke calmly. Her name is not Tinga. If my guess is correct, her name is Qing Shuang. Zhou Yi's spirit body trembled violently. He raised his head. The emptiness in his eyes vanished, replaced by burning vitality. Qing Shuang. Wang Lin turned around and looked at Zhou Yi. He said nothing, only tossing over Qing Lin's jade. Zhou Yi's pupils contracted as he caught it. He immediately scanned it with his divine sense, and his expression changed drastically. After a long silence, he bitterly murmured Qing Shuang. Wang Lin spoke calmly. The daughter of Celestial Emperor Qing Lin. Qing Lin was the most powerful being in the celestial realm. It is rumored that he escaped during the collapse of the celestial realm and is currently hidden within the demon spirit land, recuperating in seclusion. The light in Zhou Yi's eyes grew increasingly intense. A trace of vitality slowly emerged within his body. The purple mist around him surged violently, yet it could no longer suppress that vitality. "You're saying Tinga's father is healing here?" Zhou Yi asked urgently. "Wang Lin, are you certain?" Wang Lin shook his head. "I did not witness it personally, so I cannot be sure." The confusion on Zhou Yi's face gradually faded. He murmured softly, "That's right. How could anyone be certain of such things? Only, if Tinga's father truly is here, then with his cultivation, he might be able to awaken Tinga." At this moment, Zhou Yi seemed to have forgotten that Tinga was nothing more than a remnant soul fragment born from 1,000 years of obsession, long since dissipated. "I want to take Tinga to meet her father. I want Tinga to awaken." The vitality within Zhou Yi grew stronger and stronger. The purple mist surrounding him went mad, surging toward the golden light between his eyebrows in a frenzy. "Scatter!" Zhou Yi shouted. His eyes flared with brilliance. The purple mist immediately struggled, attempting to resist, but it was futile. In an instant, it was expelled from Zhou Yi's body. Soon all the purple mist was forced out and vanished through the formation beneath him. Zhou Yi was the sword spirit of the Rain Celestial Sword. If the ancient demon of the Water Demon country descended personally, Zhou Yi, who only had 3 strands of life sword energy remaining, might not stand a chance. But merely expelling demonic energy, that was effortless for him. With the purple mist gone, Zhou Yi's body became crystal clear like flowing water. He glanced at the pagoda and waved his right hand. A ray of sword energy shot out from within. The sword was small, its form delicate, clearly crafted for a woman. It was one of the Rain Celestial Swords. Zhou Yi's body transformed into a beam of light and instantly entered the small sword. In that moment, the fissure was flooded with boundless sword energy. At once, the remaining 3 spheres of light rose into the air, transforming into divine senses that rushed toward Zhou Yi. A cold snort rang out from the sword. One strand of Zhou Yi's life sword energy shot forth. A heaven-shaking roar echoed throughout the entire tide abyss, as though the sword energy intended to cleave the abyss itself apart. The 3 spheres of light shattered instantly and were devoured by Zhou Yi. The projections of the 4 swords embedded in the ground also shattered under the life sword energy. The formation beneath them collapsed completely. The fissure that had sealed Zhou Yi collapsed. Ling Tianho Zhou Yi's voice echoed coldly, "You sealed me for hundreds of years, but had my heart not already been dead, how could your seal have ever trapped me? I am the sword spirit of the Rain Celestial Sword. My life endures as long as heaven and earth, and I inherit the 4 great ancient sword intents. Though I cannot kill you unless I allow it, you cannot seal me. For hundreds of years while my heart lay dead, I still sense the inheritance of ancient sword intent. If we meet again, let us see whether my cultivation remains the same as before." Zhou Yi shot out just before the fissure fully collapsed. Wang Lin followed immediately. 1 sword, 1 man. They appeared outside the fissure. Zhou Yi emerged from the celestial sword. He looked much the same as before, though time seemed to weigh heavier upon him. He held the pagoda in his hand, gazed at it briefly, then passed it to Wang Lin. "Wang Lin, keep this for me." Wang Lin nodded, stored the pagoda away, and met Zhou Yi's gaze. There was a trace of gratitude in Zhou Yi's eyes. To reach this level in merely a few hundred years, congratulations are in order. Wang Lin let out a sigh. Thanks to Xianxia's ascendant crystal. Otherwise, he shook his head and did not continue. The ascendant crystal was your reward for guarding Tinga. There is no need to thank me, Zhou Yi replied softly. If anyone should give thanks, it is I. Who would have thought that after several hundred years we would meet again? If not for your determination to find me, this meeting would never have occurred. Seeing Wang Lin about to speak, Zhou Yi raised his hand to stop him. After pondering briefly, he asked Wang Lin, I recall there were 2 celestial swords within the pagoda. Do you still possess the other one? Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding. The celestial sword containing Xu Liguo flew out. The moment Xu Liguo sensed Zhou Yi's presence, his entire spirit trembled. Both were spirit bodies, and the pressure he felt was overwhelming. The other party was like the progenitor of all sword spirits. Xu Liguo felt as though he was merely squatting in someone else's house. Huh. Zhou Yi's eyes lit up. He pointed casually. Xu Liguo was immediately pulled out of the sword. His face filled with eager flattery far more intense than when he faced Wang Lin. Senior, Junior's name is Xu Liguo. It was my master who forced me to live inside the celestial sword. It truly wasn't my intention. Wang Lin's expression darkened instantly. He shot Xu Liguo a cold glare. Zhou Yi laughed heartily and said to Wang Lin, I cannot pass my spells to you, but this spirit body is not bad. I can allow him to comprehend the ancient sword intent and accelerate his growth until he can fully control this celestial sword. That's all for today's content. See you in the next part. Support me by becoming a member. It will give me more motivation. Thank you so much.